Shadows of the Bronx. None of the alleys in the Bronx could ever have been called a friendly place. It was grim. Even a strong, battle-hardened man needed to gather all his courage if he crossed through here on foot. Half of the street lamps were smashed, and the rest only made the darkness even more oppressive. The walls were covered in graffiti with trash everywhere as far as the eye could see, and broken glass crunched with every step. A pervasive stench wafted from the dumpsters, and the unmistakable sound of rats and the tapping of their little claws on the asphalt could be heard everywhere. The wind occasionally picked up a piece of newspaper which brushed along the wall as if someone were fleeing in haste. In the distance, the sound of a police siren broke the silence, then slowly died away. The darkness of the alley was not just dark but also heavy, as if it were watching a person. Nina, the 22-year-old homeless girl, had already grown used to this world. She was not afraid of the dark. She was not afraid of the rats either. Everything was less terrifying than her drunk father and his buddies who backed down from nothing if they desired her. It did not matter that she did not give her consent to the act. There was no other way out for her after that certain night but to flee into total anonymity. Without money and without clothes, she soon lost every job she could take because she had no opportunity to wash herself or maintain her clothing. She did not dare go to a shelter. She no longer trusted men. Everything here seemed safer than home sweet home. But on that night something was different. Something superhuman. The wind whistled strangely in the narrow alley as if it were whispering. Nina pulled her coat tighter around herself while searching among the bins for something edible. Then she saw it. A body. At first she thought someone was just sleeping. It was a common sight around here. But as she stepped closer, her stomach tightened into a knot. More precisely, it was a corpse. It looked terrible. It was a man. But he was not bloody anywhere. Maybe he is still alive, she thought to herself. She hoped, but the man lay motionless in an unnatural pose. His face was strange. Not distorted, not bloody, but empty. As if all life had simply been sucked out of him. Nina stepped back. "Hey buddy," she whispered. No answer. She cautiously kicked the man's leg. The girl turned to run away, but then she heard it. A faint scraping sound from the other end of the alley. Nina froze. She wanted to scream, but she was completely paralyzed. Not a single sound came out of her mouth from the terror as she glimpsed the moving shadow. The sound came from closer and closer, as if something were crawling. Fast. The scraping sound stopped for a moment. This was the worst. The silence. Nina's heart beat so strongly that it almost hurt. Glass crunched under her shoe. In that moment, the sound started again. Much closer. So close that she no longer just heard it but felt it as well. Maya had seen hundreds of corpses in her life. As a coroner, nothing could surprise her. At least that is what she believed until now, but this case was different. The hospital morgue was sterile and cold. Under the white light of the flickering neon lamps, everything seemed sharper and scarier. The air felt somehow colder now than other times. Not just because of the temperature. Rather because of some unsettling feeling that she could not explain. The case that day was an unknown man. The police sent him in. John Doe 34/26, Bronx, she said while looking through the papers. Again, I am not even surprised that every strange case comes here from the same district. The body was rolled in from the cold storage. Maya stepped closer routinely and turned on the recorder to record the autopsy log. She pulled on gloves and lifted the sheet. And for a moment the air stopped. This is strange. The body was intact. No cuts, no bruises, no signs of external injury. But the skin? It looked different from the usual, and its tension was somehow different. It had a pale grayish tint, as if it were not even human. It was wrinkled and toneless everywhere. Maya leaned closer, as if it had dried out from the inside. Then she noticed something strange. She leaned closer to see better and turned the magnifying glass there too. On the neck, tiny, almost unnoticeable dots. Not a bite, not a needle prick. Something else. Then the light of the morgue flashed for a moment. Maya looked up. Great. The light returned. But when she looked at the body again, she would have sworn that the fingers of the man were a millimeter further away. The ticking of the clock on the wall seemed louder. Every second made the silence more tense. Maya's fingers stopped for a moment in the air. Something told her not to touch the body. But in the end she did it anyway. As the rubber glove touched it, the texture seemed somehow different than skin usually is. She did not see hairs on it either, nor tiny fuzz which covers the body of every human even if they shave. She straightened up and decided to postpone this work a bit for later. She pushed the body back into the cold storage and pushed it into drawer number 12. She turned the lever. She turned off the light and went back into the morgue. She leaned against the equipment table. She took a deep breath. "Do not be silly, Maya." She pulled off the rubber gloves and threw them in the trash and went to the locker room to undress. Time to go home, she thought. Flo did not believe in the supernatural. He was a policeman, a man of facts. But the cases of the past weeks were starting to get strange. A pattern was emerging, but an unexplainable pattern. "Another one," he said, standing at the scene while looking around the alley. The tape was already pulled up around the crime scene. They set up the tent to hide the body from passersby. Around them, the flickering blue-red light of the police cars reflected off the walls of the houses. The officers were whispering. "The same pattern," said one of them. "No injury, nor blood." Flo crouched down next to the body. Something was not right. All his senses protested. Over the years, he had learned to listen to his instincts. This had saved his life more times than his weapon. In the dust, there were faint traces, which continued upwards on the wall. Not shoe prints, rather as if something had been dragging itself. "How did this get here?" he grunted. Then Nina appeared. "I saw it," she said in a trembling voice. Flo looked up. "What did you see and who are you? How did you get through the cordon?" Nina hesitated. "I found him." "Him?" She pointed at the corpse. "And I called the patrolman whom I spotted 2 blocks from here. I do not have a phone, you know. I live here by the dumpster opposite." She pointed to the bins standing on the other side of the street. "I saw what crawled up here." She pointed to the wall where the footprint continued. Something that was not human. Flo sighed. "Listen, lady, I do not need fairy tales." "It is not a fairy tale," Nina interrupted. "It moved on the wall." Flo did not answer immediately, but something in his stomach told him this was not a joke now. He looked at the woman thoroughly. She did not seem crazy. She was very unkempt. Unfortunately, this city just pours out destitute young people, but her eyes were clear and intelligent. It is a pity for her that she lives like this. He thought of Maya. It was not the first time they had worked together. He was always impressed by the calmness and expertise of the woman, and something else too which he could not formulate exactly. He should discuss this with her too. She will surely figure out what the victim died of. In any case, he took out his mobile to record the testimony in the police application. "Please provide your details first. Name? Date of birth?" Harry worked all night. Since his wife died last year, no one was waiting for him at home. During the day, he was just about all right, but the nights were terrible without her. He could not sleep. The streets of the Bronx never slept, and there were always passengers. Street girls, tourists, lost people, drunks, who knows what kind. Harry did not care as long as they paid the fare. But on that night something was strange. The roads were too empty and too quiet. Even the junkies seemed as if they had gone to bed to sleep, just like the thieves and the dealers. The radio sizzled. Then the voice of the newsreader spoke. "Tonight, repeated reports have arrived at the police about strange deaths." Police spokesperson Sam Bennett. Harry turned it off. "I do not need this," he grumbled to himself. "May the Lord give me a fare. I cannot make a living like this," he thought to himself while he almost reached a large intersection at the corner of East 161st and Jerome Avenue. Then a nervous woman stepped out to the edge of the road. Maya whistled, then shouted, "Taxi." Harry pulled over to the edge of the sidewalk and stopped. Maya got in, looking back nervously as if she were being followed. "Go. Quickly. Where would you like to go?" Riverdale Avenue. Harry started off. Is something wrong? He asked, glancing at his passenger in the rearview mirror. Maya hesitated. Do you believe in strange things? Harry smiled. In this city? You have to. Strange things happen here every day. Tell me, what happened to you today? Maya squeezed her lips together and swallowed the answer. She started rummaging in her bag. The corpse I received today was not normal. Harry did not say anything. Basically, he did not think it was normal at all if someone regularly receives corpses. Though here around the morgue, maybe he should not be so surprised at that. But in the rearview mirror, he noticed something. A shadow, which was following them unnoticed. He stepped on the gas. Maya finally took out her mobile and called Flo. She told him everything, although she felt like a fool. Flo, as always, spoke to her in a reassuring voice. The man was like a lighthouse which is unwavering and calm. He is afraid of neither the storm nor the giant waves. He just stands in his place and does his job, resisting any massive force. They met at the morgue at the agreed time. The bodies are empty, she said softly, as if something were sucking the life out of them. Flo folded his arms. And what do you think is doing this? Is there any trace of how they are draining the victims? Maya spoke about the tiny marks on the neck. Tiny dots, the likes of which she had never seen before. As if it were a tiny needle prick, but how would it be possible to remove such a large amount of blood so quickly through such a tiny opening? Show me, said Flo. All right. As soon as they entered the cold storage, Maya nervously went toward drawer 12, but the silence was terrifying. Then the lights began to flicker again, and the door of the cold storage slowly opened. Flo immediately pulled out his weapon. Who is there? No answer. Only a faint scraping could be heard. The creature was fast. Too fast. When it emerged, it only seemed like a blurred dark figure. Only emptiness was visible in place of its face. Neither eyes nor nose. Nothing but darkness. Flo opened fire, but the shots seemed as if they achieved nothing. It did not even flinch, as if they had passed through it without obstruction. Run, he shouted. Maya and Flo rushed out. The corridor was dark. There was no one in the building besides them except for the porter on the other side of the building at the main entrance. They headed toward the cleaner's exit. It was locked. Flo kicked the door hard next to the lock. The old board split as if there had always been a crack there. They could not stop their lives, depended on every second. The creature was behind them even when they stepped out through the back door. Then suddenly they heard it. Screeching brakes. As they looked up, Harry shouted at them. Here, get in quickly. Flo and Maya jumped into the taxi. Harry pressed the gas to the floor. They were panting from exhaustion. As the adrenaline level began to drop, Maya began to tremble. Flo pressed her to himself and gently stroked her shoulder. It is all right, you are safe now, Flo said, and he wiped the teardrops from her face as she turned toward him. Maya reached up with her fingers. As she touched her face, she felt moisture. She had not even noticed that her tears had started to fall. I am sorry. I do not usually burst into tears over everything, she said. I think on a night like this anyone would have the right to cry, he replied while glancing back. The creature remained standing on the street. It did not pursue them, as if it did not want to. Flo and Harry worked out the plan together at the station. Many people were inside at such times. There was a lot of work in the city. They sat down at one of the buffet tables with 3 coffees. We cannot kill it, Flo said, but perhaps we can trap it. Maya thought about it, then gave a nod. The morgue could be locked in there. You want to go back there? Harry asked. It started there, Maya said. It will end there too. No, Flo replied. It started in the alley. The girl might be in danger too. I am getting reinforcements and a few useful items. Let us go. He whipped out his mobile while leading the small team to the dispatch window of the technical department. Hello, Mark, he said when they picked up on the other end of the line. I need a little help. I would like to ask for something regarding the body found tonight in District 7. Are you on duty? Ah, all right, thanks. I want to ask you to find the witness. A homeless young woman. She said she usually hangs out in the street opposite. Drive over there and bring her into the station so she is safe. Tell her we have one or two more questions regarding her testimony and that she has to wait for me. If possible, get her something to eat too. Thanks, pal. I owe you one. Pete handed him a few mini in-ear transceivers, 2 additional stun guns and 2 body cameras. Can you not give me a telescopic baton? Flo asked. It is a good thing you are not asking for machine guns. Fine, here is one. And I am giving you 2 bulletproof vests too, but bring them back by 7 in the morning, otherwise I am fired. It will be done, old man. Thanks. Greetings to Ratch and the boys. I will pass it on, pal. Thanks. The streets of the Bronx, as always, were dark now too. Meanwhile, Mark returned to the alley. He tried to find Nina. She had completely vanished. No trace of the girl nor of anyone else who usually loiters there. You were right, Maya, Flo said as he hung up the phone. To the morgue then, maybe we will get closer to the solution, Flo said. Everyone put on your vest. I will show you how to use the stun guns. You press this little button like this to load it, and then you just pull the trigger like in the Western movies. And Harry, I am giving you a telescopic baton too, just to be safe. All right? Harry nodded. Will they not lock me up if I am caught with this? He squinted at Flo. Not at all, you are participating in a police operation, Flo replied. The door of the morgue creaked as they opened it. Until now, Maya had not noticed that the door creaks even though she came and went through it every day, but now it sounded terribly frightening. Silence. The silence was too great. The detective, however, showed no signs of nervousness. How handsome he is. Maya thought it is a pity that his work is so dangerous. Unfortunately, too many policemen end up on her table for her to consider a relationship with Flo. It would be terrible to process the potential tragedy if something happened to him. Are you ready? Flo's voice startled her out of her daydreaming. No, said Harry. I think I will never be ready for something like this, but let us go. Quietly, cautiously, they entered the building. As Flo looked out from behind the wall with his weapon in his hand, he caught sight of it. The creature was there. He disengaged the safety on his weapon and signaled back. The creature waited, and meanwhile its finger moved rhythmically as if it were making music. Flo distracted it. He stepped out from behind the wall, aiming his weapon, and ran toward the corridor on the opposite wall which led to the cold storage. The creature did start toward him, making a scraping sound. But it was animalistically fast. In the blink of an eye, it was there beside him, went around him, and was now standing inside the cold storage. Maya slammed the light switch. The lights turned on. The creature screamed as the sharp light blinded it. Could not bear the light. Then Harry shot it in the back with the stun gun. The body of the creature began to shake from the electric shock. It roared, and its saliva began to flow as if it were in an electric chair. Maya also began to scream. At this, Flo also set his stun gun to charge, and he too shot at the creature. Its body suddenly stiffened, then collapsed lifelessly to the ground. At least so it seemed. Maya locked the doors and activated the system. The trap worked. The cold storage was sealed. And there was silence. Nothing else could be heard but their panting. Maya's legs gave out. They could no longer support her, but before she could hit the floor, Flo caught her. Flo's arms held Maya's body firmly while the woman tried to regain her balance. Her heart was still hammering wildly. Air flowed into her lungs in gasps, as if she had only just escaped from under the water. We have it, she whispered hoarsely. We locked it in. Harry leaned against the wall and wiped the sweat from his forehead with a trembling hand. The telescopic baton was still in his hand, but he was no longer gripping it so tightly. What the hell was that? He asked, but there was no real curiosity in his voice. Rather fear. The kind that cannot just be brushed away. Flo did not answer immediately. His gaze was fixed on the door of the cold storage. Behind the thick steel door there was silence. Too much silence. We wait, he finally said softly. We watch to see if it moves. Maya slowly straightened herself up and let go of Flo. For a moment they looked into each other's eyes. Everything was there. The fear, the relief, and something else too which neither of them dared to speak out loud. Then, a soft thud. All three of them froze. The sound came from the direction of the cold storage. Thud, as if something had bumped against the door from the inside. Harry snapped his head up. Surely that is just... Thud, thud. Now it was unmistakable. Something inside is moving. The blood drained from Maya's face. It is impossible, she whispered. That amount of electricity. Flo raised his hand, signaling them to be silent. The sounds became more rhythmic. Thud, 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 as if it were communicating, as if it were signaling. Then suddenly it stopped. Total silence. Flo slowly stepped closer to the door. He raised his weapon again, although he knew exactly that the bullets were worth nothing. No, Maya said softly. Do not go closer. Flo stopped. 1 second. 2. 3. And then, the door of the cold storage dented from the inside. From a single brutal strike. Harry cried out. Damn it, it is going to get out. Another strike. The steel creaked. This is not normal. Maya's voice had already turned into panic. This cannot be such a great force. Flo stepped back. We run. Now. But before they could move, the lights went out. Darkness. Total. Maya screamed. The generator, she said, panting. The automatic system has switched off. In the darkness they heard only their own breathing. And something else. A soft scraping sound. Not from the direction of the door, but from behind them. Flo spun around immediately. No, it is impossible, Harry whispered. The scraping was approaching. Slowly, almost playfully. Then a soft laughter. Not human, but still somehow like it. Maya staggered back. There are two, she whispered. There are more. In the darkness a figure took shape. It had no face, only that black empty patch where it should have been. Flo fired without thinking. The stun gun snapped loudly. The body of the creature twitched, but it did not collapse. It just stopped. It tilted its head slightly to the side, as if it were studying them. Then, in a single moment, it disappeared. Harry panicked. Where is it? Where is it? The answer arrived immediately, directly from behind him, a cold touch on the nape of his neck. Harry froze. No, he whispered. Flo lunged without thinking. The telescopic baton snapped. The creature slid back into the darkness. Meanwhile, Maya was fumbling along the wall. The emergency lighting. It must be here somewhere. Her hand finally found the switch. Click. A faint red light flooded the corridor. And then they saw them. There was not one. 3. They stood motionless, watching, and each of them looked at them with the same emptiness. This is a colony, Maya whispered. Not one creature, an entire species. Flo slowly backed away. We have to get out. Harry nodded, trembling. And Nina? Silence. A short, heavy silence. Then Maya, almost inaudibly, it is too late. One of the creatures moved. Slowly. Then another. And the third disappeared. Run, shouted Flo. They set off. They rushed through the corridor, the red light flickering as if the building itself were alive. The scraping came from all directions. From the walls. From the ceiling. From the floor. As if they were not bound by the laws of physics. One of the doors suddenly flew open beside them. Something flashed past. Harry fell. Damn it! Flo turned back and yanked him up. There is no time. The exit was already visible. A few meters. Just a few meters. And then, one of the creatures dropped from the ceiling in front of them. With full force. Flo charged into it. The two bodies collided. The stun gun snapped again. The creature twitched, but now it attacked back. Its arm, or what seemed to be one, reached Flo's chest. Flo hissed in pain. Go, he shouted. Now. Maya shook her head. I am not leaving you here. Go. A moment. A single decisive moment. Then Harry grabbed Maya's arm. Come on. He pulled her out through the door. The fresh air hit them. They were out. But Flo, he stayed inside. Maya screamed. Flo. Blunt noises were heard behind the door. Struggle. Blows. Then silence. Harry pulled her back. You cannot go back. I must. The door opened slowly. They both froze. Flo stood there, panting, bloody, but alive. Maya rushed over to him. My God. Flo just nodded. The whole thing must be burned out. Harry blinked. What? The building. Everything. Maya looked at him. And if they get out? Flo's gaze was dark. Then, it will not just be the end of the Bronx. Silence settled upon them. The city lights flickered from afar, as if nothing had happened. But they knew, this is only the beginning, because inside, in the darkness, something was still moving. The streets of the Bronx did not change, but something became different nonetheless. Nina disappeared. The bodies were not found, according to the official report, unknown cause. And Maya, Flo, and Harry never spoke of it again. But all three of them knew, this has not ended yet. I hope you are enjoying our new story. Please subscribe to our channel so we can continue to thrill you with more tales and help you pass those boring moments with a chill. Drop a like on this video and let us know in the comments what you liked best about this particular story. We truly appreciate your support. Now let us continue.